Money, power, prestige, ambition. These are the forces that have driven society since the dawn of time. In ancient Greece, wealthy aristocrats maintained power over the ordinary citizens. So why would an aristocrat voluntarily give away his power to create a new governmental system that favored the masses? Even though he was born into the wealthy elite, Cleisthenes harnessed the power of the people to create groundbreaking political reforms that are still practiced today.
The word democracy derives from the Greek words demos, meaning people, and kratos, which is rule. Quite simply, the basic concept of democracy is that the people rule. Cleisthenes was an Athenian statesman who is known as the father of democracy. In the 6th century BCE, when Cleisthenes implemented his reforms in the ancient Athenian political system, he set the foundation of democracy for centuries to come. With his reforms, Cleisthenes furthered the rights and responsibilities of the Athenian citizens by transforming their aristocratic oligarchy into a direct democracy.
Cleisthenes was from a powerful Athenian aristocratic family called Alclaminidae. During this time, the only people who had real power to rule were the aristocrats. An aristocrat is someone whose family has a high social rank and a lot of wealth. The aristocratic families were always arguing over leadership of the polis, which is the Greek word for an independent, self-governing city-state. Athens is an example of a polis, as is Sparta, its rival polis during that time. Cleisthenes' father, Megacles, was a ruling leader in ancient Athens. Cleisthenes learned many valuable lessons by observing the way his father ruled. He saw that a huge difference in wealth held by different classes caused chaos within government.
Before Cleisthenes' reforms, the government was an aristocratic oligarchy. In this political system, most Athenian citizens had no say in government, as the few rich oligarchs had heavy influence. Oligarchy derives from the Greek words oligos, meaning few, and archo, which is to rule. This means that the power resides with a small number of people. A major turning point in Cleisthenes' life was when he had a conflict with a ruling aristocrat named Isagoras. The competition between the two for power intensified when Isagoras was named Archon in Athens. An Archon is the chief magistrate of the polis, and he holds religious and ruling power. Cleisthenes fought back against Isagoras and proposed a number of political reforms, which helped him win popular support from the citizens of Athens.
So what Cleisthenes did was he, according to Aristotle, he brought the demos over to his side. He brought the people over to his side. So we could view him as kind of a populist leader initially. But his genius was to restructure the system so as to prevent the kind of factional violence that Athens had been experiencing for a number of years.
Cleisthenes had the weight of reforming the flawed Athenian aristocracy placed upon him. As such, each major reform was created in the interest of preventing the rise of powerful aristocratic families. Cleisthenes created a direct democracy by putting individual political responsibilities on citizenship of a specified region rather than on membership in a clan. By doing so, Cleisthenes furthered the political rights and civic responsibilities of the Athenian citizens.
In Cleisthenes' new direct democracy, each 18-year-old male whose father was from Athens would become a citizen and had the right to vote, the right to participate in the assembly, the right to participate in ostracism, and the freedom of speech. Along with all these rights came the significant civic responsibility of taking part in direct democracy.
Cleisthenes' first major reform was directed at the Athenian tribal system. Cleisthenes replaced the 4 existing tribes based upon family heritage, with 10 new tribes based upon relative location. This reform was important because the newly structured tribes brought in citizens from the entire geography of Athens, not just the wealthy communities. The aristocratic tribes created inequity and intolerance within the Athenian society. Under Cleisthenes' new delegation, advancement in society was easier than before.
Cleisthenes also made the pre-existing villages of the countryside in the neighborhoods of the city of Athens into demes. A deme was a subdivision of the Athenian countryside. In each deme, male citizens had the political right to directly running their government. Each deme kept track of the male citizens who could vote on laws and policies.
The tribes were a pivotal factor in choosing the committee of a new political and administrative council of 500. Called the Boule, the Council of 500 drew roughly 50 members from each tribe. This made democracy the first political system to have a proportional representation.
The selection process was intentionally at random to ensure the power could not be extended to one family over another. The Council of 500 showcased the first time in ancient Greek history where Athens was united under one delegation.
This development expanded the civic responsibilities of people in Athens because all the eligible members of the state had a chance at representing their individual region. Furthermore, the tribes allowed for extensive political participation as there was a diverse range of citizens.
Out of Cleisthenes' many decisions to give people the power in government, ostracism was one of the most well-known and important reforms. If any leader or individual who possessed political power became too powerful or acted badly, the citizens could vote to exile a person from Athens for 10 years. The man being ostracized wouldn't lose his money, property, or citizenship. The reason behind ostracism is that Cleisthenes believed it would prevent power struggles like he had experienced with Isagoras. Each year, the men of the ecclesia would decide if they wanted to ostracize a person. In the assembly, each person received a piece of broken pottery called an ostracan and picked a leader to be banished from Athens. Then everybody placed his ostracan in a big pot. If a man had over 6,000 votes, he would be ostracized for 10 years.
Ostracism expanded the civic responsibilities because it encouraged all the citizens to stay up to date with politics and be informed about any figure who held too much power or posed a threat to democracy. By staying up to date, citizens were able to keep the power of the political system neutral. Ostracism maintained the balance in the political system while being a peaceful and non-violent way to do so.
The ecclesia, or assembly, was a large gathering of citizens that met once every 10 days on a special hill called the Nix. A platform terrace was carved out of the rock, located on the Nix. This was known as the Bema. Any citizen who was over the age of 20 could speak to those in attendance.
At the assembly, every citizen had the right to speak and vote. As time went by, ordinary men who were talented public speakers were able to have an enormous effect on the assembly. This meant that without being a well-known and powerful person, a man could make a difference. Before Cleisthenes' reforms, only the voices of the powerful aristocrats could be heard. Cleisthenes changed the way Athens was governed and set the stage for democracy as it would evolve over time. Athenian democracy created the concept of popular sovereignty, which is the idea that the power rests in the hands of the people. But did Cleisthenes intentionally empower the masses, or was this an unintended consequence of redistributing the power of aristocrats in a self-serving attempt to preserve the influence of his Alcmenidae family?
Depending on who you read, he was more or less disinterested or self-serving. So he seems to have set up a system that would put his family, his clan, in a position of authority and still preserve a lot of aristocratic power and influence. I mean, it's one of the features of democracy that even when you have one person, one vote, there are going to be individuals who have outsized influence.
As historians, we will never know if Cleisthenes acted out of self-preservation or with a noble goal of a more egalitarian society. From ancient Greece to democracy today, the only thing we know for sure is that money, power, prestige, and ambition are still some of the most powerful driving forces in the world.